How's it going, everyone? So about 3 weeks ago I did a video discussing Super Splash Bros and why I think it would be something to look out for. Well, it's been released and I've done my fair share of listening to it. And of course, given that this EP consists of just 4 songs, I was really able to take my time and form my thoughts on each of them. Now, with all of that being said, let's get right into this review and see just how well these two meshed for this EP. Now, the biggest thing I think to be worth keeping in mind here is that this EP feels like a collection of 4 songs. These songs aren't necessarily tied into each other, but rather I would say they aim to capture various feelings and demonstrate the artful prowess of Parris and Jarry Manna together. Taking a look at the first song here, we can see that this duo leans in a free-spirited direction from a lyrical point of view. Neither of the artists were presenting particularly abstract or focused topics, and were rather carefree in the way they hopped from subject to subject. However, regardless of what they were talking about, they're nonetheless serious in their rapping as usual. And that's not at all a bad thing, mind you, but it does seem especially notable for Parris, who, as I've pointed out in the past, usually has a highly different lyrical style than Jarry Manna. It was very interesting to go through these songs and see how Parris seemed to be adapting each time in order to smoothly fit the lyrical atmosphere that Jarry Manna usually brings in his solo music. One thing I really appreciate this EP for is what I personally feel to be an underrated usage of vocal intros to the songs. DJ DB405 seems to have a great voice and also personality for this, as he really excellently sets the mood for 3 of the 4 songs. Instead of nothing but a beat or some contemplative uhs and yas to start the song off, we instead get DJ DB405's booming messages. I have to say that it helps to heighten that sense of anticipation for that beat drop, and given that all of these songs start with a loud chorus, it makes for a nice combination. And finally, of course, we can't skip over Ty Brazzle's feature on the song Radiate, as he's the only guest rapper on the whole EP. His feature is a bit unusual, however, as he takes up about the entire first half of the song, with Parris and Jarry Manna filling out the second half. I don't have an issue with this, as it's a good song. However, it doesn't necessarily feel like a Parris and Jarry Manna duo song. Ty Brazzle has such a long verse, and when you combine this with the fact that he does the chorus and he also goes first in the song, the whole thing kind of feels a little more like a Ty Brazzle track featuring Jarry Manna and Parris. When you hold Radiate up to the other 3 songs on the EP, it doesn't feel like it fits in as much with the whole joint EP theme. Although I liked Radiate quite a bit, in a way it felt different enough from the other songs that it did admittedly take me a bit out of the overall experience. So to sum things up from a lyrical perspective, this EP feels entirely natural for Jarry Manna, while seeing Parris become very fluid and adaptable with his rapping style. The 2 rappers hold true to their wavy ideals while also dancing through quite a variety of topics. They never stay on one thing for too long though, and so the atmosphere in this project tends toward lighthearted and easygoing. Interestingly, I think I noticed a dynamic going on throughout this EP. While Parris adapted his rapping style, I would have to say that it was Jarry Manna who adapted his musical atmosphere. Of all the 4 beats on this EP, I wouldn't say any of them were the sort of production that I normally associate with Jarry Manna. Going off of his Holy Weapon series, his beats are usually less moody and more straightforward or earnest. Even if he's lyrically the same as always in this project, I noticed him adopting some interesting singing, flows, and melodies on this EP, especially in the song Surf Talk. It felt distinctively different from the usual way he raps, as he's typically more even-pitched and less expressive in his tone. I think this is because, from a production standpoint, he's very much in Parris' territory with this project. My biggest indicator is listening to how natural and rhythmic Parris himself sounds, particularly on the song Joe Budden, where he almost sounds like he's going completely off the top of his head and also sounding very smooth while he's doing it. All throughout this project, Parris sounds notably relaxed, and it's almost as though he's just floating his way through from a musical perspective. perspective. Meanwhile, Jarry Manna seems to be a bit more experimental, as though he were trying to find his footing to some extent in these new soundscapes. The contrast between these two guys works for me because it keeps a good sense of balance. Parris Chariz meshes with the beats and brings a calm but irresistible groove with his sense of rhythm, ensuring that each song has a nice, cool effect to it. Jarry Manna, on the other hand, brings some ear-catching melodies and a certain loudness that clashes with the beats, which helps the tracks from feeling maybe overly mellow. So it turns out that I was decently close with my expectations. I had sort of imagined that we would see these two rappers meeting each other halfway to create a unique sound, and that did partially happen. We saw Parris Chariz matching Jarry Manna's way of lyrically tackling a song, while Jarry Manna adapted to Parris Chariz's usage of beats that feel complicated and layered with subtleties. The combined effect is a project that throws you off because both artists feel and sound different than they usually do. However, once you put the two pieces together, it becomes clear that these two rappers are almost paying homage to one another with this EP. These are two rappers who I would say have very particular and well-defined styles. They stick to it like clockwork and are pretty easily recognizable whenever they feature on a track. So to see them sort of do away with that, it makes this EP worth listening to. Jarry Manna and Parris Chariz seem to really understand each other as artists, bringing out the best in each other's style and finding a halfway point in between. It's almost a glimpse into what it would be like if Parris Chariz were a bit more like Jarry Manna, and vice versa. However, they never sacrifice the important qualities that make each artist their own, so it doesn't feel like they're trying to be each other, but more so acknowledge one another's unique way of doing music. Moreover, this EP is really fun, with a great sense of energy maintained by the production, and of course the dramatic introductions from DJ DB405. Overall, I'm definitely happy to give my recommendation on this one to you guys. If you like either of these artists, then you'll find enough of them in these songs to enjoy the music, and if you like them both, then you're really in for a treat. Unfortunately though, if you haven't heard of these artists before, then in all honesty, this may not be the best introduction for you, as neither of these artists are particularly deep into their own style with this EP. The result might end up being that you get a shallow first impression, as this EP isn't really deep or thought-provoking in the way it freely hops from topic to topic. I would highly recommend checking out these two artists' solo work to get a solid idea of their artistry before jumping into something lighter like this. But ultimately, those are only my thoughts. I had a lot of fun with this EP and it really did live up to my excitement, as I'm very glad to tell you guys. However, what did you guys think about this short project? Does it lean more towards too shallow, or does it lean towards being a great blending of artistry? Make sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments. For now though, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace out.